Right.
This is another time here.
So every morning at 10:30, I go to the state's website and I scrape all their data by hand. I take that information and I reanalyze it in a way that Iowans can understand what's happening over time in our individual counties as well as across the state. Throughout the day, every day now, because of my contract with ISEA, uh, I work with my lab of undergraduate and graduate students. We collate all the data from the individual districts and we analyze that as well.
What's different today than when you started this?
When I first started keeping track, the state was essentially locked down for the majority of jobs. Most Iowans were staying home, working from home. Very few places were actually open for business on any given day. And spread was fast early on, but because we locked down and because the governor put most jobs as work from home jobs, we were able to get over that surge of patients. They were able to get the medical care they needed. A certain number did pass away, but we got on the other side of that. And then we just had basically from the end of May all the way through August, a steady rate of new infections. The number of new infections we were getting every day was offset by the number of new recoveries every day. It was mostly a straight line function when we're thinking about a graph. However, we've had schools go back. And at the end of August, I had started noticing both in the data, but also in the analysis, the graphs that were on the other side, that we were beginning to have a curvature that indicated we were going to have increase in new positives. I got that first understanding at the end of August that increased spread pretty quickly in the early to middle of October, turned into essentially rampant spread. We're now getting 4,000 to 5,000 positives a day. That's horrifying because our hospitals across the state now, I have a number of colleagues that are clinicians, infectious disease clinicians, and their opinion is that hospitals likely won't be able to handle the amount of need between COVID-19 patients and traditional patients who need treatment for heart attack, stroke, cancer, anything that would be a normal condition that would need management in any other year may potentially be deadly this year. Last night, we had our highest admissions ever, which was 230. That's really high. And we have 210 Iowans that are currently in ICU. And I cross-checked against IHME's model for Iowa. And we weren't supposed to get to 210 ICU hospitalizations until the end of November. This is not the end of November. And what happens when we run out of ICU beds? Every person who has a heart attack may or may not get a bed. They may not get treatment. They may die at home. Same thing for COVID-19 patients. They won't be able to get the oxygen and the supplemental care that they need in order to get over the worst of it. They might die at home. Not only are we going to be having the COVID-19 deaths, but we're also going to have an increase in other deaths too. And in both cases, very much preventable. Sadly, there are only two things now that will slow this down so that fewer Iowans die. One is a lockdown. We all got to stay home. The governor herself won't do that. She won't put the structure in place so that people can stay home. We now have to make that choice. The other one is everyone needs to be wearing a mask all the time. You walk out your front door, the mask is on your face. It does not leave your face until you come back inside. Because every single Iowan who is not currently infected, we need to be making sure we don't get infected so we don't contribute to hospital overrun. And it appears that in most districts, parents want their kids in person at school. They're thinking about their kids' social well-being, academic well-being today, and wanting their kids to have as much normalcy as possible. But a little bit of normalcy now may mean a lifetime of no normalcy. And that's the thing I worry most about now as we're heading into likely one of the longest winters any of us will ever experience. I know what's coming and I'm doing my best to both prepare myself, but prepare as many Iowans as I can. We're going to watch a tragedy and we need to at least remove ourselves from that equation.
what are you seeing in the schools and the students?
There is rapid spread, especially in the last 2 weeks. At first, it was individual districts would have one positive here, one positive there, and it was very slow. Very exactly what I would expect mathematically. I'm looking for a logistic curve, which starts with exponential increase and then hits a plateau, usually when schools go to virtual, and then has exponential decrease. And that is what I'm seeing. Our schools and school districts are microcosms of our counties and our state. Everything that's happening to the rest of us is happening in our schools, both to teachers and to students.
Do you have any knowledge of this? The parent, I can't remember where I heard this, but they have strips now that they can tell if you have COVID in minutes.
So, like the saliva test?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe.
Yeah, I know someone in Iowa City who's developed one. It's what we need. It's what the $21.5 million of CARES Act money that the governor spent on workday and salary for staff should have been spent on. I know a scientist in Iowa City who developed a saliva test, and all he needs is funding in order to start producing them so that Iowans can purchase them. And right now, he does not have the funding. He's trying to get it built up, but she could have spent it on that. But instead, she spent it on a workforce and personnel program. Governor Reynolds reiterated this yesterday in her press conference. She cares about livelihoods over lives. She is doing short-term thinking. She's looking at the economy and caring about how much money we have coming into the Treasury in the state of Iowa, as well as federally. And she's not understanding that if we have 5,000 to 10,000 Iowans who die from this, our economy is screwed anyway. We need to be acting proactively instead of reactively. And she's not even acting at all, in my opinion. She instituted one of the most hilariously bad mask mandates I think I've ever heard of, where as long as you have 24 people in a room, you don't have to wear a mask. Or as long as you have 99 people outside together, you don't have to wear a mask. The virus does not care. She just put a rubber stamp on every holiday party, every Thanksgiving, every church gathering, every Iowa legislature session, and says, you don't have to wear a mask. It's fine. Schools as well. Her mask mandate does not extend to schools, even though every single schoolroom I've ever been in has at least 25 students and a teacher. She might as well have just said, light your mask on fire, because that's basically what she did. We could be first in the nation, and she wants to make sure we're last. She won't have a choice anymore once the new administration is in and they institute a nationwide mask mandate. She'll have to zip her lip and stand out of the way, because there will be real adults guiding the pandemic, real adults making helpful decisions that are proactive and not reactive. And she won't, her hands will end up getting tied. But we have to make it to January 20th.
Right.
And the thing about that is that our hospitals might go upside down before we get there. Now, all we can do is keep ourselves safe. And I do this every day, pray that everyone who won't keep themselves safe somehow gets free of it, doesn't get the virus, they get lucky. I pray every day that Iowans who don't want to wear masks get lucky. So we keep going whether or not the world around us doesn't want us to.
It's falling apart.
Exactly.
All right. Take care.
Stay safe.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Thanks again.